Aloha, this is Anna Surfing. Welcome to Beach Broadcast. Today is still Thursday, October 23rd, 2025. This is my second podcast for today. You may not get it until Friday the 24th because I'm actually recording it pretty late because some other news broke. Ready to go ahead and talk a little bit about digital, and then suddenly, boom, Kash Patel makes a big announcement, and he actually indicts big names in the NBA. And then also I wanted to talk about the Binance founder and former CEO. He got pardoned, but after he served his time, which I kind of find interesting. So let's just go dive right in about the NBA games. I'm going to tie it into, are they going to expose something a little bit bigger for us? Well, let me just play the announcement and then I'll kind of go through some highlights with you. So this is what Kash Patel's announcement was.
Today, we are here in New York to announce a historic arrest across a wide-sweeping criminal enterprise that envelops both the NBA and La Casa Nostra. The men and women up here standing with me represent a small portion of the leadership team that brought profound justice in an era that needed it more than any. I'll just highlight some of the details in the case and the FBI work, and then you'll hear from the others. But as you now know, individuals such as Chauncey Billups, Damon Jones, and Terry Rozier were taken into custody today, former, current NBA players and coaches. What you don't know is that this is an illegal gambling operation and sports rigging operation that spanned the course of years. The FBI led a coordinated takedown across 11 states to arrest over 30 individuals today responsible for this case, which is very much ongoing. Not only did we crack into the fraud that these perpetrators committed on the grand stage of the NBA, but we also entered and executed a system of justice against La Casa Nostra to include the Bonanno, Gambino, Genovese, and Lucchese crime families. And you'll hear more about those details today. The charges and the arrests that were taken down across this country range from wire fraud, money laundering, extortion, robbery, illegal gambling. This FBI will leave no room for any perpetrator of crime across this country. You hear a lot about our work of defending the homeland and crushing violent crime. Well, this work is also representative of a colossal portion of the FBI's mandate to keep America safe and to keep our entertainment industry fair and secure. The men and women that are standing up here today worked tireless hours, days, months, and years. And the fraud is mind-boggling. It's not hundreds of dollars. It's not thousands of dollars. It's not tens of thousands of dollars. It's not even millions of dollars. We're talking about tens of millions of dollars in fraud and theft and robbery across a multi-year investigation. And we could not have done it without our interagency partners that are before us today. The NYPD, HSI, and teams of law enforcement officials from around the country made this day possible. It takes a team to bring this kind of justice, sweeping justice, into the halls of the United States courtrooms, where our brave United States attorney has led this prosecution. It takes courageous prosecutors to stand before you and say, we will not allow this kind of illicit activity to happen, not only at the national sporting level, but also where it hides in La Casa Nostra. And when these two collided together, they perpetrated a fraud that is historic in terms of not just money, but the scheme and the deceit that they utilize to steal and swindle people from money, to include crypto fraud. This is an operation that showcases to you that under President Trump's administration, there is no room for any type of criminal behavior, be it on the world's largest stage or in the back rooms of tiny parlors where card games are being played. We are proud to stand here today with the men and women of the FBI and this legal team. And to the United States Attorney, I just want to thank you personally for taking the time to display the work that the media is about to hear about today in detail. As I said, it does take courageous prosecutors, but it takes a courageous United States Attorney to bring this case, because we are going to take heat for it. But we don't shy away in this administration. We don't say no. What we do is we bring the results across the finish line. We bring them to the public. We bring you accountability. And yes, they will have their day in court, and you will hear the evidence through the court system exclusively. We will not deny anyone of due process. And that's the brilliance of this system. That's the brilliance of this administration. Everyone will be held to account. So
Well, who had this on their bingo card? Did you notice he called it the entertainment industry? Did you also notice that he was talking about crypto fraud? Big things that I'll cover in today's podcast. I'll just kind of summarize things for you. This is a photo from Fox News, and it's Miami Heat, Terry Rozier, and Portland Trail Blazers coach. Now, Clancy Billups, they got arrested. So you hear where he's going? He's going towards the entertainment industry. This kind of summarizes everything about this, the sports betting conspiracy indictment, and it talks about the indictment and how they participated in sports betting scheme using non-public NBA information between 2023 and 2024 involving games featuring the Hornets, the Orlando Magic, Trailblazers, Lakers, and Toronto Raptors. In 3 of the 7 games, players allegedly intentionally removed themselves from contests to benefit the gamblers' bet. Again, people that are into sports gambling, you have got to be, and you didn't know about any of this, you got probably just very livid. They also had rigged poker games. So Billups, he's charged with wire fraud, conspiracy, and money laundering. And that dude's going to be seeing an 8x8 cell for the rest of his life. With poker underground, the rigged underground poker games. Now, the poker games, they were backed by the mafia, the Bonanno, Gambino, and Genovese. I probably massacred that. Crime families. Imagine this. Kash Patel went out there and talked about the mafia. That's pretty big. They used, what happened is Billups, he used high-tech cheating devices such as poker chip tray analyzers, tampered shuffling machines, special glasses or contact lens to read pre-marked cards, and an x-ray table to view cards face down. Aren't these guys making enough millions of dollars? Don't they know how to invest their money rather than having to do something like this? I don't get it. Victims used as fish were lured by the chance to play alongside professional athletes known as face cards who were all part of the scam. The operation reportedly stole millions of dollars from victims and created a financial pipeline of organized crime. Additional allegations are Damon Jones, who named LeBron James in his indictment. He calls him out, so I guess they're going to call each other out, is charged for both sports betting and poker game cases. Jones is accused of leaking non-public injury information about LeBron James and Anthony Davis to gamblers before the games. Guys, that's like insider trading for the betting industry is how I look at this. And then investigation dubbed Operation Nothing But Bet. Now, why is this important to reveal the corruption? Because now the FBI is going after the mafia and the entertainment industries. He is not calling it as a sports industry. Kash Patel called it the entertainment industry. They're big because they're a big part of the stranglehold on the everyday person. Now you might say, well, what? I don't really understand. What does that have to do with me? You think about the ripple effects. A gambler that says, oh, I got to play next to LeBron James, or I got to play next to one of these guys, whatever. I don't know. I really don't pay attention to professional sports anymore just because of all their stupid stuff that they do. But they lost. So therefore, now again, the trickle down effect is they lost, so they don't have that kind of disposable income. They were stolen. Many millions, if not billions of dollars was stolen from these we'll call them victims, right? So and these victims playing underground poker, but more importantly is how they rigged the game. So to me, it already tells me that they've been dealt with. That Kash Patel wouldn't be bringing up these very big names if something already wasn't in the works. So they're doing a lot of things and just bringing things to light right now. Notice that we didn't get to see the perp walks. They were arrested. Normally you'd have the media right there showing the arrest. So how long ago did they get arrested, right? It's a very bold and daring move, and it's a very, very huge enterprise. But what if it's something bigger? What if this is a way to signal to the gamblers the risk of gambling? Aren't professional sports rigged games a big part of the these the child trafficking operations as well. Is Kash Patel saying, I'm onto what all of you are doing? I mean, come on, my last podcast was about the East Wing and what President Trump is doing there, and which I'll get into that on a different podcast because there's some follow-up to that. It does look like the last podcast we were talking about the underground tunnels, the operations, the dirty operations, those were getting dismantled and exposed. And pretty much President Trump is putting it in their faces that I got you. But did Kash Patel just put everyone in this criminal enterprise on notice, the importance of going digital, cashless society? Will gambling end? Now, I'm not going to some, it's a frivolous expense that many people cannot even afford. But with all the charges in changes to our financial system coming, will gambling eventually become illegal? And I'm sure I'm going to get a little pushback on this, but aren't there better ways to invest money rather than throwing it into an underground poker ring? And oh gosh, just so that people could say, oh, I got to sit next to so-and-so, isn't that cool? I lost a boatload, but I got to sit next to them. That's not the point. Is that President Trump, the Trump team, is looking out for the future, not throwing your money away. So what happened today is President Trump, he pardoned the founder of Binance. Now, why did he do it, right? Why is this relevant? Because if President Trump needs all hands on deck for the new financial system, will the founder reveal how to integrate XRP and other approved crypto for transactions? Will the current system be able to handle all of the worldwide transactions? Big banks are beginning to, quote unquote, adopt XRP and crypto. But as of today, if you go to a big bank, they're like, I don't know. You know, I said, come on, it just said there's a big article saying you're adopting it. Well, I don't know anything about it. Okay, well, whatever. But will the big banks eventually become irrelevant? Now, there's a lot of questions, many questions on how will wallets work with using XRP for buying everyday necessities such as food or gas, supplies, etc. Is it similar to Apple Pay? I don't even know how to use Apple Pay, but younger generation, they know how to use Apple Pay. So is it going to be something that, again, President Trump is really trying, and his team, they're really trying to get us used to embracing the new system? This is a short thread. This is a short thread, on the digital Fort Knox coming and how the Trump family has been wronged by the big banks and would ultimately like to see them irrelevant. I'm going to get into that in a moment, but let me just share something with you. So Zhao, the founder of Binance, he was criminally charged in the United States. He pled guilty to money laundering in November of 2023, and then he served his time, his 4 months in prison, and he completed that last year. And now all of a sudden he gets a pardon. So I'm wondering, again, the timing of President Trump to wait until he served his time. And then here it is almost a year later that he pardons him. Is it that because once he's pardoned, does Zhao need to be criminally free to partake in certain types of activities? And is Zhao, what if Zhao testifies before a committee? Is he now compelled to answer, or his pardon may get revoked? Again, he's probably looking for, I'd love to get my pardon out of the way. But now here's a short thread on Zhao getting pardoned. Okay, now, is Zhao needed for the new digital age of transacting business? On March 6, 2025, President Trump, he did sign the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve Executive Order. Included in that is XRP because there's also the digital asset stockpile. Now, again, this was not a very popular thread, but I want to share this with you, what Brad Garlinghouse said. And he talks about XRP is used for payments, everyday payments, unlike Bitcoin. Check this out.
XRP and the performance of XRP compares with Bitcoin. Bitcoin today, as was said earlier, Bitcoin in many ways has been a successful experiment, but not when it comes to payments. The throughput of Bitcoin, both in terms of to confirm a transaction, often can take an hour. I think Tavis said earlier, you're not going to use Bitcoin to buy coffee unless you want to wait there an hour for it to confirm the transaction. And then the transaction cost would be pretty high. So your Bitcoin
I have much more to cover on XRP and Bitcoin and Brad Garlinghouse and Ripple and Evernorth, but that's for a different podcast. I kind of wanted to cover this today because this was really the big highlight. Eric Trump, he was interviewed and he had mentioned this. Now, he was talking about being debanked. His family's been debanked. But listen to what he says. Again, if you want financial information, look at President Trump's hair. Look at he's wearing gold hair or silver hair. Look at Eric Trump's messages because he's always giving more financial hints about what is to come. Check this out.
They hurt us so badly. They tried to take us out. They tried to destroy our company based on, weaponization toward my father because he was a politician and he was running for commander-in-chief of the United States, and they wanted to see him gone, and they wanted to see us broken. They wanted to see us bankrupt. And now, in turn, we won that battle. The battle I'd like to win against the big banks is I'd like to see them gone in such a big way. I would like to see them totally irrelevant. There's no reason these big banks need 10,000 people in a skyscraper with, lavish executive offices. Guess who's paying all those expenses? You and me. They hurt us so badly. They tried.
Did I just hear Eric Trump say he wants to see them gone? Right? This was a big statement. Listen.
The battle I'd like to win against the big banks is I'd like to see them gone in such a big way. I would like to see.
Eric, man, I'll tell you, I'm having an Elizabeth moment. He had me at gone and irrelevant. He is making it clear. This is the President Trump's son who is making this statement. What is that telling you? Is it telling you that the bigger parts are coming into play? All out of the blue, Kash Patel talks about illegal gambling, just out of the blue. And is he talking about we're going to be doing away with all of that? Ooh, it's going to be ugly for the gambling industry. But you know what? Is that what we need to do in order to walk into greatness? For those that are questioning if that was a real video or not, yes, Grok confirmed that Eric Trump clip. None of this is financial advice. None of this is, I'm just sharing based on how I see it and how I can interpret it. Gold hit its peak 3 days ago. Big banks were scrambling to keep this price down. Why? Because big banks have naked shorted the snot out of gold and silver, and they need the lowest price possible to give it back. I shouldn't say pay back, but give it back. Shorting is borrowing the precious metal with a promise to return those borrowed at the current price. Now, notice how silver and gold have been kind of hovering stagnant last year, beginning of this year, just kind of hovering at the low price. If they had never had the ounces to begin with, like let's say naked shorting, then the banks have to pony up the money to pay gold or silver contracts. So if the contract holders are saying, hey, I want my money, I would like to cash in because gold's at a high, gold was at 4,300, the banks went freaking nuts, right? Especially if they naked shorted any of the gold or silver. So they had to go ahead and pony up out of their own coffers. Remember, the big banks they're running out of a lot of things. People adopting crypto will get rid of the central banks, my opinion only, because it would bypass all of that. And if you got the Trump family saying they want them to be irrelevant is a very big sign. If the banks borrowed gold at 880 per ounce, let's say that was back in the 07-08, when there was the housing crisis, and now it's surged to over 4,100, which is today. These banks are in big trouble. And then once the crypto adoption comes into play, what do you think these big banks are going to do, right? They're going to try to scramble to get on board, but is this where we need people like the Zhaos and we need other people to get on board? Because it's going to be a global. The one thing that is common that we all can do is smile, right? That's a common language in every country. Think about, let's say, XRP particularly XRP because that's used for payments. It's going to be a common currency throughout the world. How many processing centers, companies do they need, right? Will they need? If the digital fork now consists of everything but the central bank fiat dollars that controls us and the way we buy, they can't print the fiat currencies, then the banks have very little remaining in their coffers. Remember earlier this year, President Trump, he just got sworn in, and then a few days later, he was speaking at Davos at the WEF, and listen to what he says, and he calls out Bank of America. Listen to this.
And by the way, speaking of you and You've done a fantastic job, but I hope you start opening your bank to conservatives, because many conservatives complain that the banks are not allowing them to do business within the bank, and that included a place called Bank of America. They don't take conservative business. And I don't know if the regulators mandated that because of Biden or what, but you and Jamie and everybody, I hope you're going to open your banks to conservatives, because what you're doing is wrong.
Ouch, ouch. That hurt, right? Jamie Dimon, Brian Moynihan, they're like, oh, we're hot dogs, we're big guys. They have been. I got debanked, got it, my liberal bank, little bank, but still liberal. Now, again, guys, we know what they do, how they censor us, how they want to make sure that you as a conservative are not thriving, because they know you are pushing for the greatness and they don't want that to happen. Remember the former Secretary Treasurer Janet Yellen? She was collecting speaking fees from none other from the big banks. Wall Street Mav posted this. Here's your cash bribe, Janet, and it's called speaking fees. So you have somebody that's supposed to be working for We the People who's actually getting paid. She got paid over $7 million in speaking fees from big banks alone. Part of the old guard is the financial system has kept us enslaved. Under President Trump, he is talking about sharing the wealth under the sovereign wealth fund. So he's got a lot of things in play, guys, a lot of things in play. But how many businesses does the sovereign wealth fund, are they a part of? How many different types of assets? And again, remember, President Trump is going to be on the Board of Peace, the chairman of the Board of Peace. So is he not just rolling it out here to the people, we the people in America? Is it going to be something that's going to be considered worldwide, right? Prosperity in one country may not mean money. It may mean developments. It might need like technology, the ability for a younger generation to tap into Starlink so that they can understand commerce and understand how it works, and they can their learning curve is improved tremendously. We can start growing our own fruits and vegetables in our own yards and helping to develop these underprivileged places, and they can have new homes and just redevelopment. Isn't that what President Trump's doing for the Middle East? Hasn't he already started that for other places as well? So bringing Zhao out to help with the upcoming transactions, and the people are going to be reliant on it, is going to help ultimately with humanity, and it may be very vital in what is coming, to give us the complete freedom from the corrupt financial industries that kept us enslaved. And speaking about enslaved, President Trump, he getting these courts that are people that are filing appeals. You can't have National Guard come here. You can't. Well, Gavin Newsom, he lost his appeal, and now President Trump, he can federalize the California National Guard. And guess what? That is going to happen by Monday, where California is going to start to see National Guard in the Bay Area, particularly in Oakland. So what's next on the bingo card? Because I put together a little bingo card. I mean, the entertainment industry, boy, I'll tell you, again, I still can't over that, because now think about the people that do movies, right? And how crazy they'll be. But we've got now the NBA. Again, it wasn't just the 3 people. There were 30 people that were actually charged. The mafia, Comey, he's been indicted. Letitia indicted. Bolton indicted. So we got a few more other big players on deck. Obama, Hillary, Brennan, and Biden. So I was trying to find the next Q Delta that we're going to be facing, and there isn't one until the 28th of October. So this tells me we've seen a lot of proofs. I'm not getting my hopes up too high, but Q has proven to be right many, many times. So I'm wondering if this is going to start to surface. And Hillary will be arrested. This is an Anon that wrote this. Will be arrested between 7:45, 8:30 on Monday, the morning of the 30th. And the 30th this year is on a Thursday. And then Q writes, Hillary extradition already in motion, effective yesterday with several countries in case of cross-border run. Passport approved to be flagged effective on October 30th at 12:01. Expect massive riots organized in defiance and others fleeing the United States to occur. U.S. military will conduct the operation while NG activated. Proof check. Locate an NG member and ask if activated for duty on October 30th across most major cities. So I'm telling you, this is what may very well happen. You get Hillary indicted, she's not going to go down easy, guys. She's going to be loud and mad and angry and ugh. And imagine the ripple effects. Imagine everybody. Again, we already know she got dealt with. So the 2.0 or the whatever 50.0, I know she's got a lot of body doubles. Whoever we're going to see, she's going to go through her mass hysteria, which will could very well ignite the people out in the streets already. They don't even know why they're rioting. But we do have the National Guards already in place. So all I could say is please buckle up and get yourself ready. And if anything, just keep praying and help thy neighbor if you're able to, and be there for them if anything big happens. But the 28th isn't until next Tuesday, so that's only a few days away. Oh boy, I'm curious to see what's coming up. So President Trump, he had a really, really great discussion in the Oval Office today, and I will, in the Gold Room today. So I'll go ahead and share that in my next podcast. But it did confirm the podcast I just did earlier today. But God bless you so abundantly. Again, if you just ever feel a little weary, just hang tight. Sit. God's sitting there, right? Jesus, the Holy Spirit's sitting there saying, come sit over here with me. Come talk with me. I want to hang out with you. Tell me about your day. Tell me about what you made. Tell me about the good things, the bad things, everything. I want you to be your friend. So hang in there, everybody. God bless you so abundantly. I share big, big surfer hugs, and I will have a show very soon. Aloha.